Horses is what brought me over here, just wanting more for my life and wanting to chase dreams and goals. You know, like most of us, we all have aspirations. You know, doors close in life, and you know, the biggest thing is, it's like, just put your trust in God. Change is scary, and like, especially midlife, it's like, okay, I'm going to do something different midlife. Like, that's not an easy thing to do. You work hard and you sacrifice a lot. And I think we are so fortunate that we have the opportunity, you know, to better our lives financially or whatever. And I think we have an obligation to, you know, when you get ahead, okay, I need to do something for somebody else. This isn't just about me anymore. You can have all the money in the world. You can be the smartest person in the room. But if you don't have or show compassion to your fellow human being, then what's it all worth, Cody?
Guys, welcome back. 817 podcast. Today, I've got one of the great in the arena, out of the arena, Darren Simpkins, Hall of Fame rider. He's won over $2 million. He's trained and owned one of the horses of the year, a sire that we all know, Raised Old Badger, and so many more. That's just one that I remember growing up watching you with. And Darren, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for coming on.
It's an honor to be here, mate. Thank you for having me. And I look forward to sitting here and talking about life and talking about just things in general.
Oh man, I'm so excited, and I think it's so awesome, your story, how successful you've been in the arena, but also now how you've stepped out of the arena, and to me, you're changing more lives there.
Right.
But let's just start at it. Right now, you do a lot of charity work overseas, in Uganda and stuff like that for Amy Bell Charities, and we'll get into all that because it's such a blessing to have you in the world. You know, you've made such a difference in so many people's lives, and I can't wait to share that with the world today. But you're from Australia, Queensland, I believe.
Correct. Yep.
When were you born over there, and what led you to the States, I should say?
Well, pretty much horses is what brought me over here, just wanting more for my life and wanting to chase dreams and goals. You know, like most of us, we all have aspirations. We see these people we admire and respect, and you want to kind of be a part of that life. And, you know, I moved over here in 91. So, 35 years I've been here now. And it's just been incredible, the journey that, you know, my life has taken, and it's gone in different directions that sometimes you think, well, I could never have imagined I'd be doing this right now. But, so horses is what brought me here, the love of horses. And, that's kind of why I got into, you know, training cutting horses. I just, the challenge and to see your heroes and come and be a part of it and
get amongst them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and you've been at the top, what I consider. I know me as a horse trainer, you're somebody that I've always respected and looked up to as a showman, trainer, and just a human being. And now that I'm sure trying to get my life on track and walk the line and be here for a higher calling, right? I really think that it sure seems like, man, you've really taken that by the horns and just wrestled it to the ground.
Yeah.
How have you adjusted that from training horses and being at the top, and you know how much work it takes to get to the top in this industry, but then all of a sudden being selfless and saying, you know what, I've got other stuff I've got to do, and stepping out of it. And let's talk a little bit about Amy Bell Charities and stuff like that, and some of the stuff you do overseas.
Right. Yeah, I think sometimes, you know, like stepping away from the horse business, the training and showing side of it. I think sometimes, doors close in life. And, the biggest thing is, it's like, just put your trust in God. I had no clue what I was going to do when, certain doors closed, and it's like, okay, God, it's like, what's next? I trust you. I have no idea what I'm going to do, but here we are, show me where you want me to be and what you want me to do. And I think that's pretty much how my life has transformed the last few years. Not having a barn full of horses has given me the opportunity to say yes more. When Larry Bell reached out to me with Amy Bell Charities about going to Africa and doing some work, and the first thing I said was yes. I had no idea.
There was no question.
Yeah, I had no idea the hows or the whys, but I was in a position I could say yes. And, to have that in life, what the horse training deal is like. It consumes your life. And I just wanted to be in a position where I could do something different and make a difference in other people's lives too. And I knew that I couldn't do that being committed, to a full-on horse training program.
Right. Absolutely. And it's so selfless and helping others. What y'all do, you go over there and you dig fresh water wells for people that don't have water, right? I mean,
most of these
explain
people,
that.
Yeah, they've never seen fresh, clean water in their life. If you see what they drink out of, it's dirty puddles in the ground, it's contaminated water sources, and you wouldn't even bathe in it, and they're drinking this water
to survive.
Yeah.
And that's all they know.
That's all they have. Yeah. And, just to be able to go there and, we have some wonderful people in place over there that have been doing this water well ministry for over 20 years and a very trusted group of people. So it makes our job easy, my biggest part is just trying to raise money to say, okay, let's do some more water wells. And the biggest thing is, I can't do it without my friends. My friends are my biggest supporters, and I'm so grateful for every one of them.
Absolutely.
But being in a position to tell them, look, if you'll help me, I'll go there and show you exactly where your money went. It's all going to the cause. It's not going, to administrative costs or somebody else's pocket. Every single dollar is going to that cause. And I'm just passionate about water. It's just, you think about it, without water, there is no life, for us as humans, or even to grow a crop, or, to grow your own food, or to water animals. It all starts with water. Right. And, for those people to experience clean water for the first time, man, it changes your life to see that.
I hope that one day I get to experience what you've experienced over there, because I know just the pictures in the books that I see of the products when they're finished, and the people, grabbing the wall. They're just the starstruck, they look like they just won the lottery over here, and to me, I try to put myself in their position. And actually last night we had a pump go out on our well that pumps water to all everything, right. and I got to thinking, before I come up here to do this, I got to thinking how stupid it was for me to be aggravated by that, and to think that there's people over there that have never seen clean water or running water. And here I am worried about a pump on a water well, Yeah. So that's amazing to me. And what's it like? Tell some stories about over there. What was your first experience like when you got there?
Yeah, just the things that we take for granted here, like just being able to go and turn a tap on and have fresh water. For them, some of them have to walk miles with heavy water containers. And when I go, I try and put myself like in their shoes a little bit. Like, I want to learn how to carry one of them water jugs on my head, and I want to see what they do and, you know, where their water source is. And like, you go and you completely immerse yourself in their life as much as you can for the short period of time that you're there. And I think they appreciate that too. You know, they see that you genuinely care. And Cody, I really think compassion is what changes lives. You know, like, we may not be able to give them all the things that they need, but if we just show compassion and show that we care, it goes such a long way. It gives them hope. Yeah,
absolutely.
Because there's a lot of places. I used to go to Haiti, and it's probably one of the poorest countries I've ever been to in my life. And the thing that used to affect me so bad is like, what hope do you have? Like, when you wake up of a morning, it's like, what motivates you to actually keep living? You know, there's
and
nothing.
Keep carrying that water, walking 2 miles to get it.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just, and that's tough. Like, you come home and you're mentally, you know, you're fatigued from it. It takes a lot to process a lot of the things that you see, but then it inspires you. It's like, okay, I need to help these people.
Absolutely.
And we can't always help them all, but the water well ministry there, it all started in with an old couple in Midland, and they made their first trip about 20 years ago. And Ramon had seen a couple little kids drinking out of a dirty water hole. And she asked somebody, she said, like, what is this? They said, well, that's what they drink. And she said she come home and she started praying about it, and she said she was mad at God. She said, God, you have to do something about this. And she heard God tell her, she's like, no, Ramon, you have to do something about this. And that's how that whole water well ministry started. And, you know, and she did. Like, so in 20 years that they've been doing it, we're almost at 1,000 water wells now. And they've figured almost 4 million people that they've given clean, fresh water to just in Uganda alone.
Wow.
And
I got cold chills when you just said that.
It's incredible.
That's a huge number.
It is, yeah. And it's just going to keep growing. And with Amy Bell Charities, I think last year we did almost 60 water wells, just Amy Bell Charities. And
if for anybody that doesn't know, Amy Bell and her family used to be a big part of the cutting. She passed away. It's been several years now.
Yeah, and she was at Tulsa at the BI.
At a cutting. That's right. I remember when it all happened.
Yep.
And it hit our community so hard because she meant a lot. She was a close friend. To know her was to love her. And
unfortunately, I never got to meet Amy. You know, I was around the cutting, and, you know, that's something I always wish I, you know, would have got that opportunity to meet her. But anyway, where she was such a special lady from all the things I've heard that she had done. And
that's all I've ever heard as well.
Yeah, and just to try and continue her legacy, you know, she was compassionate, she cared, and that's where her journey started, was seeing some young kids that needed shoes. And, you know, just a simple little act of kindness there started a snowball effect of
60 water wells last year alone.
Exactly. You know, as well as Amy Bell Charities has some schools, some women empowerment programs. They're doing a lot of wonderful things throughout different parts of Africa and even here in the U.S. too.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. That truly is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So how many times do you travel over there? Do you have a trip coming up planned to go over there?
I just got back here a few weeks ago. So I usually go to Uganda every February, and you've kind of got to time it with their rainy season, but that's always a good time. Usually it's winter time here and it's summer over there, so it's a good time.
Great time to get out of here.
Exactly. But No, so I usually go to Uganda every February, and then later in the year, I make a trip with Larry and Ellen Bell, and we'll go to other parts of Africa, whether it be Zambia, South Africa, or Namibia, and check on other projects that they're involved with also.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Can you think of any moments that just stick out to you, on one of your first trips over there that just really hit you hard, that that grabbed you and said, hey, this is where Darren Simpkins belongs. This is something that I know I was called to do?
Yeah, I think, Cody, there's so many, but just the people, I think travel is one of the greatest educators you can have in life. Like, you can read so much about a country or culture in a book, but until you go and experience it, feel the joy from those people, feel the sadness, feel the hardships, until you go and live their life for just a short period of time, you don't truly get a true understanding of what it's all about. And there's so many special moments, going over there. That's why I'm so excited. I've got trips scheduled, and it's something I look forward to more than anything else these days is,
absolutely,
getting to jump on a plane and go and do that.
Well, I mean, I've just seen the books and the Facebook post and stuff and your pictures. And we'll get into that too, because I love all the pictures that you take, and not just of the people and the villages and their lifestyle, but the countryside. And,
right.
and boy, just it's amazing, because I feel like I get to go over there with you,
right.
through your journey. Man, it's just amazing to me, all the things that we have here at a convenience.
Exactly.
Those people don't even know about.
And I think that's one of the biggest things is, here there is assistance normally, like government assistance or something, where over there they don't have, most of them, there's nothing. They're left on their own. There's no governments providing them fresh water. There's no governments giving them supplemental food. And there's people starving. This last trip, we did 2 new boreholes, and at each borehole, we did a food aid delivery as well, where we took beans and maize and, delivered it to the people in those villages. And some of these people, they were starving, Cody. It was sad, and just
dying right in front of your eyes, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean that's when this was my first trip, just taking my own photos and stuff too. And I think that's a huge part of it, is to be able to show people, okay, this is what I'm seeing, but I really want you to feel what I'm seeing through what I'm showing you. And, I tried to do that a little bit better and do some more videos and things like that too, because, those people are so grateful for so little. And the simple things that we take for granted, it just means so much to them.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know just off the pictures and the book you gave me when we donated to do one, I'm going to be honest. I remember donating, and in my mind, donating then was, hey, we have a little extra.
Yep.
And I like Darren. Let's give this Darren, let him go do his thing over there. I had no clue the impact it would have on my life.
Right.
And what that book would mean to me. I keep that book literally in my trophy case. And that's one of the, and not that I've won a whole lot, but when people come to my house, that is what gets brought up in conversation.
Yeah.
Not the buckle beside it.
Right.
And to me, that it's such a blessing to me now, and something that I'm intrigued over and want to know more about, because it is, there is a man, it's such a warm feeling when you can help somebody like that. And we have the resources, like you said,
we do
to help.
Yeah. And usually after we do a water well, maybe 30, 40 days after, they'll go back and then interview a lot of people in the village, and just they'll get testimonies like, in your book, there's pages of testimonies of, okay, how has this changed your life? You know, how has it affected, you know, the way you live, either through not losing a loved one because of waterborne diseases or getting taken by a crocodile fetching water out of a lake, you know, and I love that side of it too, that, you know, you get to experience, okay, you know, we see the pictures, but then we get to hear their words, you know, this is how this has changed my life. And, you know, you mentioned about having that book means more to you than buckles, you know, and I feel the same in life right now. What I'm getting to do in life right now is so much more fulfilling than anything I've ever accomplished with horses or in a show arena. You know, I'm so grateful for that part of my life, and I wouldn't change any of it. But sometimes it's just a stepping stone to something greater, you know, than what we're called to do.
Yes, sir.
And, you know, I love my life where it is right now and what I'm getting to do. And you know, I think some of the biggest things is trying to inspire people, you know, like we can help, we can make a difference. It might just be something simple. It doesn't have to be something grand, but we can make a difference, you know, and
absolutely.
And if we can inspire people to do that, then I think that's what we're supposed to do in life. You know, we, unfortunately, in our horse world, a lot of it is about us. It's a little bit selfish, you know.
Yes, sir.
It's like, what have I got to do, you know, to win, and what can you do for me
to help me win?
Yeah, exactly, you know. And
yes,
I think, you know, when you turn that around a little bit, it's amazing how much more success you have in life when
you do turn selfless.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's so hard. And I've talked to many a champions sitting right where you sit.
Yep.
And every one of them say that there's a certain level of success that if you want to attain it, there is a level of selfishness that you have to have.
Right.
You know, even the greats that we all love that are still cool guys and have time for everybody, there's still a part of them that has to be selfish.
Exactly.
And that's amazing to hear how you, how did you, what changed that? Just some doors closing and you had an opportunity to finally do something different? And
yeah, I think, you know, part of life is evolving, Cody, like, you know, and change is scary. And like, especially midlife, it's like, okay, I'm going to do something different midlife. Like, that's not an easy thing to do.
I was going to ask, what age were you when you kind of give up horse training and stepped into this?
So what was that? 2018 almost. So
yes, sir.
It's been quite a few years now. But yeah, just different doors closing. And like I said earlier, just trusting God that, okay, you tell me what's next, you know. But I think keep evolving in life, keep learning, keep changing, you know, and that might mean a whole different career path. But don't be scared of that. You know, I think too many of us.
This could be just a stepping stone.
Exactly. You know, like we get ourselves in a situation where your identity is tied to, okay, I'm a horse trainer. That's all I'm going to be in life. Well, that's the mindset you've told yourself that that's what you're going to be. But, you know, like, be scared, jump out there a little bit and try something different. And if you fail, so what? Go back to what you were good at. But don't miss an opportunity to do something greater in life, you know, just because that's what you did all your life.
Right.
Yeah, like try new things, learn new things.
Well, and I love how you said, you know, that may just be a stepping stone. And
right.
I think it's cool that God maybe sent you over here as a horse trainer, because if not, you wouldn't have met the Bell family.
Yep.
You wouldn't be over there in Africa setting up water wells.
Exactly.
You know, horse training led to that.
It did, yeah. And the funny thing is, I just learnt this last year. an auntie of mine in the 1970s actually slept in a tent on the lake. I can't remember the lake, or somewhere in Africa, and she was teaching people how to drill water wells in the 70s. And it's like,
no way.
Like, how does this happen? Like, my auntie, I had no idea. She's passed now, but I had no idea that that's what she used to do. She lived there for a couple of years, teaching them with drilling rigs how to drill boreholes. And now my life is kind of where it's gone, and I'm over there following in the footsteps, not necessarily.
And had no idea.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's funny where life leads you, and I think the big thing is just don't be scared of it, just.
Yes, sir.
Some people are happy just staying where they're at, but I never was that person. I take
always searching.
Yeah. I mean, I take some silly roads sometimes, but you know what? Like, every road is being a bigger blessing than the one that I left behind.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So speaking about your faith, have you always grown up a Christian, or to talk a little bit about that? I love everybody. This is definitely, we didn't start this show to be a church podcast, because
Right.
I'm nowhere near a preacher. But it's interesting to me how many of my friends are Christians and are great people, and how they used to not be, but now that their faith has totally
Right.
overcome so many things. So did you grow up a Christian? Or?
Yeah, so I grew up going like in Catholic school. So,
Yes, sir.
We were in church. I think every Sunday we had to go to church, but it was just because Mum made us go.
Yes, sir.
But so,
Same as me.
that's-
Yeah, you had a great foundation.
Exactly. And then, I don't think I ever stepped foot in a church for years and years. When I moved over, I never attended church, and, it wasn't something. Chasing a career was my priority, that selfish side of things. But looking back now, if I would have maybe had God a lot more prominent in my life back then, it would have been a lot more successful. But no, it wasn't until, like we said earlier, sometimes, when certain doors close in life, like you're looking around, it's like,
a little bit lost, almost.
Lost, you are, and I was at that point, and I think that was like 2016, and I'd reached out to there's Jennifer Foland. I said, hey, I'd love to go and do some mission work or something like that, and I'd gone on a little bit of a walkabout in Florida, and I was driving from beach to beach, sleeping in the back of my truck, and I was over there for a month, and I got a call from Jennifer, and she said, hey, there's a group from Idaho going to Haiti. If you'll meet them in the airport in Miami, they'll have a spot for you. And she gave me all the details, and I never knew one of these people. I bought my plane ticket, went and got a few vaccinations, and
there you went.
Met these people in the airport in Miami and went to Haiti with them, and they turned out to be the most amazing group of people. And that's how I got started doing some of that mission work. But getting back to the faith side, I think that's where it truly started, just being a lot more prominent in my life. Like I said earlier, you go through those little seasons where you're not sure what the next thing is, but just learning to trust God that,
He's already got it planned out.
He does, yeah. And
you just need to search his path.
We try and have our own lives planned out, and that doesn't normally go too good.
So bad.
Yeah.
I'm the world's worst.
Oh, I am too, mate. I'm terrible at it, and I still do dumb stuff all the time, and he's probably looks at me and is like, what are you thinking, But that's just who I am. I know sometimes on these trips, Larry, he'll look at me, he's like, what are you doing, but, that's just part of life and part of learning. We all mess up, and none of us are,
None of us are perfect.
We're not, Cody, no. So, yeah, I don't know. I couldn't imagine not having a life of faith and not, knowing that God is the center of your life, and it's huge for me.
Well, and it's huge for me to hear these things because, like I said before, you're one of the many that I look up to, and so many other than me look up to you, and that's what I think is cool about this platform, is getting to bring this story,
right?
So maybe that somebody out there listening is lost,
yep,
and because they're out there wondering what's my next move?
Right.
Where's my open that Bible, get on them knees and pray a little bit, and he'll guide you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's
and it's
so awesome.
Like the horse training business. It's a tough life. It's not easy, but it's a very rewarding life. You work hard and you sacrifice a lot, and I think that's been one of the biggest things for me stepping away from it. Okay, we are so fortunate that we have the opportunity, to better our lives financially or whatever. And I think we have an obligation to, when you get ahead, okay, I need to do something for somebody else. This isn't just about me anymore.
Yes, sir.
And that's been the biggest thing stepping away from it, is just knowing that there's people out there who need us too, Cody. It's just, there's a lot more than what's inside this arena right here. But I'm so grateful, and I couldn't do the things that I get to do without my friends from my cutting horse family, because they're my biggest supporters. And
that's what's so cool about the NCHA, right? Like,
exactly.
We've said this with a few other people, that how many people are so giving in our industry,
yep.
and have the resources to give. We're so lucky. We have a phone book filled with some of the most influential people in the world.
Definitely.
And people don't get that opportunity like we do.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how the horse has given that to us.
It has, yeah.
It's neat for me to see you on your walk now that the horse created,
right,
in my opinion.
Right. And I still love showing, whenever I get called up
Absolutely.
to catch ride, it's like, yes, count me in, because I love showing. I love horses, and I love our cutting horse family, and just I want to keep that connection with all of those. And it's funny, I still don't feel like I'm done winning or done competing yet. I still feel like there's more there. It may not be necessarily have my own training program, but when I get the opportunity to ride some good horses, and some wonderful friends have given me good horses to go show, it's like I still feel like I can be competitive.
Oh, man. I know you can be. I've witnessed it.
I love that side of things, because I got into horses because I loved the animal. I loved horses, and it just evolved into, training and showing. And then I still love being out there under the lights and getting to show and be there finals night with all you guys still.
There's no better feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. So what was it like? What was your favorite part of the horse training, I should say? Like, I remember, you probably don't even remember this, but I remember when you were at Slate River, and I went over there with somebody, and you were working some 2-year-olds, and for some reason y'all were in the back barn, and I just remember you working this one 2-year-old. I told this story this morning to my crew, because I told them you were coming on, and I said, I remember this work like it was yesterday, but it was just such a moment in my life that you and the horse were so in tune with each other. And every one I watch you get on that day, you could just tell your love for the horse. And you could always see that brought out through the animal. You know what? I mean, do you relate that kind of to the people that you help today? Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah. Because I got into horses for the love of the animal. I loved, more so trying to understand them, mentally. And I think that's what, helped me progress. I loved the young horses, and I never had the intention of being, like a trainer or a showman or anything like that. I just enjoyed the young horses and, just mentally just seeing, okay, what can we do together? And I think that carries on over in life, with people too. That's what I love going to Africa because I love the people.
Right. Well, it's so rewarding. It's just like a horse.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to see your life-changing actions.
Exactly.
And like you said, you can feel it through their seeing it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable. And I hope I get to experience that one day with you because like I said, I can see it in the pictures and the testimonies that you read from those people. It's hard to explain, right?
It is.
And I've not even been there.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing.
Yeah. And there's just so many needs, it's not just about water too. And I've been fortunate, I've had some good people. I went to a school last year in Uganda that our good friend June McGee had done a borehole at. And while we're visiting the school, I noticed none of the classrooms had desks. And I asked the teachers, I said, so what's the deal here? And they said, yeah, they just all sit on the floor. They don't have any desks. And anyway, I come home from that, and like immediately
determined.
It's like, I got to do something about this, and I think the first person I called was Morgan Cromer, and it's like, hey, will you help me? We got to get these kids some desks. And she had helped me. We ended up raising enough money to buy, I think it was 150 desks for 500 kids. They put like over 3 or 4 kids to a desk.
Wow.
So I went back just last month and I visited that school again, and they said all their grades had improved. They were all sitting at desks doing their schoolwork. And anyway, we did like we'd given them some school supplies and different things for them, and they took me around and showed me a couple little rooms and these little bamboo mats on the floor. And I'm like, so what's this about? And I said, well, that's where the orphans sleep. There's like 100 orphan kids in this school.
With no families.
No, and that they sleep on these little bamboo mats. And I'm like, they don't have any beds? And I'm like, no, this is it. So same deal, come home again, and because of the goodness of some wonderful people, like we just wired some money yesterday to buy 100 beds so these kids can have beds to sleep on.
Wow.
So yeah, it's just when you're there, you get to see the more of the needs, but that's just so wonderful about being there in person, like there's so many things that we can't do, but you just do what you can. But water for me is the main part, just like that borehole at the school, that
led into that.
And
then beds.
And then to beds. But a lot of kids don't get to go to school because it's their job
to get the water.
So you put boreholes at the schools so the kids can come to school and then take water home that evening.
Wow.
And that's what changes lives too. You're giving them an opportunity to have an education, whereas normally they wouldn't have that chance to.
So are there a bunch of other American people like over there, like teaching or just mission people over there?
There is. I'm usually in pretty remote areas where we are, and I don't get to cross paths with many of them, but you do hear of them. Yes, there are some other good people doing some wonderful things over there too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So like how far out are you from so what's a day? Like if you was going to get on a plane today and fly over there, what's the trip look like? Cause I can't even wrap around my mind how far that is.
Normally like from DFW, sometimes I go different routes. This time I went DFW to Istanbul, and that's 14 hours. And then from Istanbul to Uganda was another 6 hours. So you've got quite a bit of flying.
It's a trip.
Yeah. And then once we got to Kampala, which is the capital of Uganda, from there it was like a 6-hour drive to where we were based at for the week. and then we stay in that one town, and then from there we go out in those different areas.
Outside of that town, branch out.
Yeah, but we come back to that town every night. That's where we stay. But all the water wells are in that kind of northern region of Uganda. So,
wow.
It's...
So what's like the vehicles over there that y'all drive? And I mean, I'm so intrigued by all of it. Like I want to know all of it.
There's, they have like, especially on those hunting areas, it's all Land Cruisers and stuff, but it's normal vehicles just like you have here. A lot of motorcycles and a lot of chaos. There's no organizations on the road. You'll be driving down a 2-lane road and they'll make it into a 3-lane, and you're like, I'm going to die.
Fort Worth in traffic.
Oh, but no.
But worse.
But worse, yeah. It's like, I'm going to die today on this road, but it's amazing how they
make it work.
They make it work, yeah. It's
wow.
I need to video some of that next time I go so that people can see.
Just the craziness.
It is, yeah, because there's no traffic lights, like people honk the horn to let you know that they're coming by. Yeah, not out of
disrespect.
Rudeness. Yeah, exactly.
They're saying, "Hey, I'm coming up."
Exactly. Yeah, but I don't know how they do it. They don't kill each other. They manage to just weave in and out of each other, and but no, it's chaos. Yeah.
So, like when you're out remotely, like in them villages, are there? You hear all the time, like, well, they got to watch out for the lions and the this and that. Is that a big thing?
Not in that part of Uganda. There's not much wildlife at all. But last October, we did 10 boreholes in Zambia, but it was like on a private hunting concession. It was like about 400,000 acres. And out there, yes, you got to be careful of the animals.
What you're doing.
Exactly, yeah.
You got to have somebody around you that knows.
Do, with a gun, yeah, because, we had elephants charge us. There's hippos.
I bet that'll put the hair on the back of your neck up.
Yeah, so it just depends where you're at. But Uganda, where we're at, there's hardly no wildlife in that area, at all. So you don't really get to experience that.
So what do those people eat? Like
sometimes I wonder, mate,
you don't even know. I mean,
a lot of grain like maize and beans is their main diet. They very seldom get protein.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know.
Hard to explain.
It is, yeah, very much so. But that's their biggest diets, is like ground up maize, and then beans is one of the biggest things. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What's it cost like to put in for the listeners if somebody does want to donate and help, and what's it cost for something like that, for like a borehole? In
that area of Uganda, we have what we call springbox wells, where they'll find a natural spring in the ground. They'll dig a big hole, they'll backfill it with rock, and then they'll direct that water into pipes that come out of the ground, and that water will be filtered through the rock and then come out into a little collection area that the animals can't get into. And that water flows like 24/7. It's pure,
always
clean water. And that's what we did for you, I think, was one of the 4 pipes.
Yes, sir.
So like a 4-pipe well is $2,700. So it's not that much to do. Right. And that will serve like a community of thousands. So it'll change quite a few thousand people's lives.
Wow.
And then each, you go up to like a 6-pipe, an 8-pipe, and then a 10-pipe. And each one of those costs a little bit more. But they're like a full-on borehole where they've got to drill a couple of 100 feet. They normally cost around $10,000, or if we do 2 at once, we get a $1,000 discount off both of them. So they're about $9,000 a piece for a borehole.
Wow.
So they're predominantly more in those drier areas where those natural springs aren't. Right. And, there is a great need for them, but they're just, quite expensive to do.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But they certainly make a difference.
Change so many lives.
Yeah.
So, like, if you drill like that borehole,
Yep.
How many people, how far do they come to collect from that?
Miles. Yeah. They might walk 3 or 4 miles just to come and collect water. That's one way. And then they walk them back again and carrying one of them big jugs of water, on their heads too.
We got it pretty easy, don't we, Josh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And those things aren't light. That's when
you think about a family.
Yeah.
I feel like if I was going to get water just for my family.
Yep.
Golly.
It's a daily deal, and usually it's the kids and the women who fetch the water. And
what do the men do over there as far as they, I guess, hunt or?
Some of them farm.
Farm,
you'll
right, I was
see a
about
lot
to
of
say
them
farm.
out there with hoes, just old style, just cultivating land with a hoe and a pick. And some of them are lazy. They'll sit under a tree and do very little. But most of them, they'll farm in some sort of fashion.
Try to do whatever they can do to survive.
Exactly.
I guess.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but you don't hardly see any men, hauling water. It's always the
women,
the women
and the
kids.
children.
Yeah.
What do they haul it in? Just big jugs or?
Yeah, big plastic jug. Yeah, and they carry it on their head.
I remember you telling me that, and I think it's cool that you've gotten into some of that and said, "Hey, give me a jug. I'm gonna walk it. I want to see what it's like."
Yep. And it's not easy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It's not easy.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Golly. Well, I tell you what, I hope this reaches some people that want to help.
I do too.
I know we're definitely going to do a couple more because just the feeling, like I said, to know that you can help that many people over really so little.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, obviously that's a lot of money, but at the same time, it's so little compared to what you're getting.
Exactly. Yeah, it's thousands of lives that you're changing at each water well. It's just not a couple of hundred. It's a lot. Yeah.
Well, and I just can't fathom drinking out of a dirty puddle and just the diseases they get from that, you know? Because that's a big thing over there, right?
It is. This last trip, we just commissioned a new borehole and it hadn't even been pumped yet. When we got there, we had to attach the handle because they just got it finished for me before, like a week before we arrived. And while they were setting the plaque, I said, "Can you show me where you get your water from?" And they said, "Yeah, we'll take you." So these ladies took me up there and showed me. And Cody, it was disgusting. Like, it was brown water. And I said, "Are you serious? You drink this water?" They said, "Yes, this is all we have." And it about made me sick just to see them, filling their water jugs up out of that, So for them to receive that new borehole it's funny, the kids, once we attached the handle to the pump and started pumping it, like the kids, they were trying to find water bottles or anything, and the dogs come and just
everybody
is like, this is clean, fresh water, and it's
probably smell it.
It's humbling to see, it's like, man, the things I take for granted in life, and these poor people, like it shouldn't be such a luxury, fresh water. It's like, it's almost like it's a human right to have fresh water, but they don't have it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody else is over there trying to help.
No, there's good people that you'll run across, but like I said earlier, the government's not helping them. So
what's it look like, the cities there? What's a city like? Is it like ours? Or,
yeah, some of the cities are very modern,
Oh, really?
But then you get out into the rural areas and it's only an hour or two out of those cities and
it changes.
It changes dramatically.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So
what's like some of the bigger businesses there in the cities? I mean, just normal everyday stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when we go to Zambia, we'll stay in Lusaka and it's a big city. A lot of commercial buildings and we do a lot of stuff right there with Child Fund. So we got some projects we're doing there. But then you drive an hour out of Zambia, out of Lusaka, and you get into some pretty, remote areas where it's just dirt roads.
Devastation, pretty much.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So you don't have to travel very far to find
see
the needs. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hard to just wrap my mind around. It's so, like you said, we take it for granted. It's easy for us to pick up a phone and say, "Hey,
come fix my water well."
Come put a new pump on my water well."
Right.
Last night this happened at dark. This morning by 9:00, my pump was fixed.
Yep.
And everybody around there was stressing that we weren't going to have water pressure.
Right.
And I'm like, I couldn't wait to get you on, because I told the crew last night that, this ain't even something to stress about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've got water.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, to change the subject a little bit, how's Raised Old Badger? Is he still kicking?
He's doing amazing. He's 26 years old now, and still lives there in my front pasture.
I see him all the time. I hadn't seen him in a minute because I don't go that way much anymore, but I love driving by there. And speaking of your front pasture, what about your new cabins? Don't you have some Airbnbs out there?
Yeah, I have a couple of Airbnb cabins, and those things have been doing amazing, Cody. Yeah.
Cabins at Amaru.
Yes.
Is that right? Did I say that right?
Yes, and Amaru is it's a Australian word for beautiful place. So that's kind of how I come up with that name for that. But no, every weekend they're book solid, and added some special little features like some outdoor style kind of bathtubs.
Oh, I know. I've seen all the pictures, and they do look amazing.
Yeah, the people absolutely love those, and so they're doing really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, Raised Old Badger, what has that horse meant to you? I know that y'all had such a relationship, and I remember one day, this really wasn't that long ago, I don't guess, but I was driving by and you were out there petting on him, and I thought that was so neat, out in the middle of your pasture, a horse that you were horse of the year, I believe, on that horse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's that like to get to own that horse and him still be here for you?
It is so special. And, like, if we're lucky in life, we get one really, really good horse, and he was that horse to me. And, but he was such a kind animal, such an intelligent animal. And that's what I loved about him. Even today, he's more like a best friend. You still go out there and pat on him every day. You feed him, and every once in a while I'll jump on him and go for a ride, and he'll still try and buck me off. And but, he's a character, though. He still acts like a 4-year-old, and that's one thing I love. Like, he served me so well. Like, after the end of his 6-year-old year, it's like, okay, you get to enjoy the rest of your life. I'm not going to campaign you, hauling you for weekend shows and stuff like that, and he's as sound as what he was, as a 4-year-old.
You wouldn't believe he's 26 years old if you saw him.
Yeah. He's incredible.
He does look like a young stallion standing out in the pasture when you see him up there in the front.
Yeah. No,
wow.
But just a special animal. And he was a huge part of my career. And I often look back and think, man, I didn't do him justice a lot of times either, because he taught me so much and I messed up a lot of times. And one of the greatest memories was seeing Tag show him a couple of times.
I was going to ask, I knew that you and Tag were real good friends. And I knew that he had showed him some for you.
He did, and he won I think it was Tunica back then. He won that age.
The Music City Futurity?
It was after Augusta.
That's right.
I showed him at Augusta, and then I ended up going back to Texas, and Tag took him on to, I think it was was it Tunica or somewhere?
I think
like
that's
that.
right. Tunica.
Yeah.
I believe you're right.
Yeah. And he won, the 5 and 6-year-old on him there. But I loved seeing, Tag always got on my horses and just found another gear in them, and I was always a little bit reserved with them. But to see him get on them and that's what I always thought about Badger. He probably should have won, $1 million, not $350,000. But I don't know. I love the life that I got to have with him, and opportunities were there to sell him along the way. And I'm so glad,
that you
I didn't. Yeah, because in the end, it's not always about the money. It's like, okay, would that amount of money have changed my life? Probably not, but I've still got this animal that was a huge part of my life, and he's still there living on the ranch with me,
Like you said, your best friend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, every night that I feed him, we just, make sure I give him a scratch, and
that's pretty cool.
He's just a special one. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yep.
What do you got, any big plans for the future coming up, or just more mission work?
Just, more mission work. Just, I want to make it rain water wells.
Yes, sir.
I just want to keep, trying to do what I can, to keep that going. Bob and Ramon, who started that ministry, Ramon actually passed away when we were there in Uganda 2 years ago. And
that's the lady from Midland that started this whole thing.
Yeah. And
that God told her, it's on you. You go help.
Exactly. And on that flight over on the plane, she said to me, now you be ready. She said, God's got a plan for you. And
wow.
It's like, I'm making sure that her legacy is going to continue, because over there she was known as the mother of water. That's what they knew her as. Everybody knew this lady because this was her ministry. And to get there, that 2 weeks I spent with her in Uganda, we'd sit there at night and we'd have a glass of wine, and the stories this lady told, like, it was inspiring the way she lived life. And she had absolutely no hesitation about, I'm not slowing down. Like, I've still got this plan and this planned. And to live life like that, that inspired me. And it was unfortunate that we lost her there, but I guarantee if you could go back and ask her, like, that's exactly where she would have wanted to be her last days, right there.
Yes, sir.
Doing what she loved. So for me, as far as my big plans, I just want to make sure that continues, and just continue to try and bring these people some clean water. And just, I'd love for like people like yourself someday to come join me, like,
I'm ready. Sign me up.
You'll come home a different person. Yeah. Yeah.
That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and you can see the inspiration in you. And to me, I used to see how inspired you were with horses.
Right.
And I saw how driven and how focused and we used the word earlier, selfish, how you really have to be a horse trainer and compete at our level and the level you were at.
Yep.
You do have to give everything.
You do.
You can't kind of do this and kind of do that. It's very time consuming. And to me, now to see you doing totally something different.
Yep.
To see the same inspiration look on your face, that's inspiring to me.
Right.
And I hope that everybody else can feel that through this camera, because it's amazing the feel that I have when you walk in the door, because it makes me want to go help somebody.
Yeah. And I don't know. That's just, I think that's what God intends us to do, Cody. It's, to be compassionate, to not lose the sight that there's people out there who need us. And we're in a position because of, the good life that we get to live, that we can help, and it's just a matter of losing that little bit of selfishness and saying, hey, what can I do,
Yes.
Yeah. And it doesn't take much.
It sure doesn't, does it?
No.
Just like you said, just that little bit of hope.
Yeah.
And then it leads into the next step.
Yeah.
And like she said, hey, God's got a plan for you. Get ready.
Yeah.
And here you are pushing her legacy on.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
think
amazing.
We're like 18 wells short of 1,000 wells. So we'll get that here pretty quick in the next couple of months.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that'll be a special.
Huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Darren, I can't thank you enough for coming on here, and I would like to tell everybody, if you want to reach out to me, I can get you in touch with Darren, or look up Amy Bell Charities. Look up Darren on social media. He's easy to find. One of the easiest guys to call, talk to. And you're going to thank me if you do it. Yeah. I seriously believe that. And I can tell you, I just thank you. I thank you for being an inspiration for all of us and for what you do. And it's amazing. It truly is.
I appreciate you. Yeah. Just everybody that helps, like I said earlier, I can't do it without any of you. And you've been a big supporter, and so many other wonderful people too. And let's keep doing this.
Let's keep it rolling.
Let's keep changing some lives.
Let's keep the hope.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if there was one thing you could leave the world with, a saying, a quote, maybe a Bible verse,
I would want people to know that, like, compassion can change lives. Like, you can have all the money in the world, you can be the smartest person in the room, but if you don't have or show compassion to your fellow human being, then what's it all worth, Cody? Like, I'd give up, man, so much of, and I've done it in little ways, with some things, like give up the things of this world,
worldly things,
to try and change some other people's lives, that are less fortunate and need us, and so yeah, just always be compassionate, I think, is what I'd love for people to, I'd always keep in mind, and there's another great question, like if you ever got to sit down next to God, and ask him one question, it's like, what would you ask him? And, I think about that often too. And it's like, I think I'd ask, how am I doing? Like, am I doing okay? Because we all get that doubt in our minds, it's like, am I good enough? Am I doing enough? Am I worthy or whatever? But just to sit there with God and say, hey mate, how am I doing?
Right.
Like, that would be something pretty special too.
Well, yeah. I'm going to say you're going to get that chance one day.
Yeah.
And, man, I can't wait to go with you over there.
Yeah.
I really am looking forward to doing that.
It'd be a great thing, mate. We'll make it happen.
I'm ready.
Like sitting here, I'm telling you, we'll make it happen.
I'll say it on air. I'm going.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And the compassion thing, I had Paul Hansma on, and he was talking about faith and compassion.
Yep.
And it's funny how that gets brought up in and maybe it's because I'm drawn to guys like you and Paul, and y'all are all the same in the same sense,
and Paul, he's a legend.
He's unbelievable.
A special guy, yeah.
And I asked him about why, I said, man, you're so great with lessons, and I've never seen anybody ask you, hey, can you help me with this? And him turn them down or not give them his all.
Right.
And he said that's his way of giving back.
Yep.
He feels like, he said, I love to help people. And that comes back to compassion.
Exactly.
And I think that's so neat.
Yeah. we hadn't shared this on social media or anything, but when I was there last month, we'd actually done a water well in honor of Julie. And I got to go
huge.
there and visit it while I was there. And, you know, the kids, they made this sign and it said, "We love you, Julie and Amy," you know, because Amy and Julie were really good friends too.
Yes, they were.
And anyway, we sent that to Paul, and that was a pretty special deal. But Paul, you know, I worked for him for quite a number.
I knew you did.
For a while, and just one of the, you know, the guys you look up to, not just as a horse trainer, but like you said, as a person too. And, you know, for us to give back to him a little bit through that water well, you know, in honor of Julie, because she was such a special lady too. So that was a pretty special deal to be able to show that to him and, you know, give to him.
Absolutely, it was.
Yeah.
That's so neat. Gosh, Darren, thank you so much for coming on here.
Nah, thank you, bud.
And keep it up.
I will.
I know you are.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful for your time, because I know you're busy. I know you're always on the road helping people, and I think that's just amazing.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much. And guys, thanks for tuning in. And like I said, if you need and want to get in touch with Darren, give me a shout. I'll get you in touch with him, and we'll get to digging some water wells.
For sure.
Awesome.
Yep. Thank you, mate.
You the man.
Yep.